are metadata. So like when you say algo hacking, I've made videos on like the etymology of skibbity that like, got 2-3 million views, etymology of Riz. And the reason those videos did so well is because the algorithm knows that certain keywords are trending and pushes videos with those keywords more. And creators are aware of that. And so creators make more videos with those keywords for the algorithm to push. I made my Skibbity video because I knew Skibbity was trending and that it would do well. And then it did well. And then more people probably made Skibbity videos. And a lot of, like, this is how, like, in general, words are inextricable from metadata. Even the word unalive, if you use that in a video, the algorithm will know to push that to people in the mental health community, probably. So we use certain words with an intent for the algorithm to push it to an audience. Oftentimes just to go as viral as possible because slang words are more compelling to people. They count as word. The algorithm picks up on that word, classifies that as part of the video, and sends it to people who like that word. And it kind of turns into a positive feedback loop where we're getting all these slang phrases from.
Yeah, same thing. I've seen slang for white, as in like a white person, just the letters YT, which you would pronounce.
I've also seen people holding up their hand like this to the camera. There's like layers of abstraction to how much the algo speak is.
Holding up their hands?
Yeah, like holding up your palm like is another way to signal like white. If you don't want to use YT. So TikTok has a policy against using like overly racialized language. One common problem that you're running into with algo speak is that it's often used to like protect from controversial issues. But a lot of minority groups' identities are the controversial issues, right? So talking about race relations in the United States, like for example, the N-word is censored. You might use the ninja emoji or something. But I don't know. I feel like it should be the right of African Americans to use the N-word if they want to, but it's censored for all people, right? So it takes that word, like, and there's a lot of like smaller examples, but like in the mental health community, and in like the eating disorder community or something, or like there's a lot of examples of words that are meant to stop political discussion, right? But the political discussion is that group's existence.
Yeah, so some of these, I mean, in particular, the communities like eating disorder communities, anorexia communities, and these exist online, and there are people who sort of encourage each other and sort of celebrate this kind of stuff. And certain hashtags, like if you try sort of hashtag ED, I'm sure that if you type that into TikTok, it will just say something like, you know, here's a helpline, and it won't show you any results, right? And so for that reason, people come up with new hashtags, which, you know, I don't know what they are. I've sort of seen this kind of thing crop up before. You stumble upon them and you realize what it is, because it will be like a bit like how the word NB, like ENBIE, became a word for non-binary people, because of course it sounds like NB, but it's spelled
well, a lot
NB.
Of terms for queer communities were created online because they felt like, actually it's been proven that in the past the TikTok algorithm has suppressed videos, not like removed, but suppressed videos from queer creators using queer keywords. So they create words like, back in 2019 there was like le dollar bean. It was like, instead of spelling lesbian, and the TikTok's voice to speech would like pronounce it as le dollar bean. And now they'll just use like WLW for women loving women in the lesbian community. And we've had other words like zesty, or like those all emerged recently. Because like they're trying to find new ways that sound maybe a little bit funnier, sure. So they'll also go viral in that capacity, but in another way, they are speaking to the algorithm as much as they're speaking to you.
Now, is this unique to social media? Essentially the creation of slang, not to be cool or not to just be sensitive, but out of like necessity, essentially. I guess the only analog I can think is historically, where people would sort of speak in code because they didn't want people to know what they were talking about, like little like kind of dog whistles to each other. Like that's, I can think of that.
Polari or Cockney rhyming slang were historical examples of like underground communities using slang. No, I would not say this is new. I would say the medium is new. But like I said earlier, okay, so an example I use a lot is like, you know how the word segs is replacing the X with a G. In 1948, the author Norman Mailer tried to publish his book, The Naked and the Dead, and his publisher told him, Norman, you can't publish this, you use the word fuck way too many times. and Norman went back and he replaced every single instance of the word fuck with the word fug with a G, F-U-G. And what he's doing there is replacing a kuss sound with a gus sound, which is exactly what people are doing when they're replacing sex with segs. This is not a new thing. And newspaper comic strips the year 1899 have been using so-called grolixes, like symbols inserted into the comic to replace curse words, because you can't curse in newspapers. So again, the medium, I would say actually like newspapers are still more restrictive than like algorithms, and we have always been finding ways to adapt. Humans are resilient in our use of language, and if you try to stop us from using a certain word, we'll find a workaround, because we will get to that underlying topic that we want to talk about.
That's quite right. It's fascinating as well, though, how like if you do it on a newspaper or like a widely syndicated article or something, and you try to introduce a new slang term, you might kind of have to indicate what it is. You put it in scare quotes, or you say, if you know what I mean. Whereas like on TikTok, people just sort of say it, and people
I do think that's new. So I've been saying I do think the medium is new, and the speed at which things are happening is new. And one reason for that is the changing nature of mass communication. So historically, the major sources of public information have passed through groups of elite gatekeepers, right? If you wanted to publish a book, if you want to publish an article, if you want to go on the radio, if you want to go on the TV, you have to pass through these filters of being like elite, educated, oftentimes like white, rich, no longer. And I think that's kind of the beauty of social media. And I think it's less alarming. I think that's actually, frankly, pretty empowering that anybody can upload a video, go viral, and showcase their situation. Anybody can have a platform. That is a completely new change to language. We've never had this extremely public soapbox for the entire populace before. And I'm actually really excited about that. And that also has trickle down effects into language. So because if you want to publish a newspaper or a book and you have slang words, you're not going to be treated professionally, respectfully. But now that it's not an upper class thing to communicate anymore, slang, which has traditionally been associated with the lower class, is now able to proliferate more than it has in the past.
Now, when it comes to all this algorithmic curation and slang and stuff, we're kind of talking about this objectively as if we're both not beholden to algorithms, that we're not both content creators of different kinds. I mean, the very video that people are watching right now will have been finely tuned in its title and thumbnail to try to attract people to come and watch it, to so-called, to make a video which, as they say, the algorithm likes. I'm suspicious of this. I don't think the algorithm exists. What the algorithm likes is just what people like. But I wondered if this knowledge that you have about the way that algorithms and languages interact has informed your content creation.
I don't think it's what the algorithm like, and I don't think it's what the people like. I think it's the algorithm and people working together. Algorithms amplify human behavior. If humans want to click on something, the algorithm is going to push that to more people because humans want to push it. But more people see it and more people click on it because the algorithm pushed it. This is called a complex system, and it's like an emergent effect of the algorithm combining with human behavior. Language is emerging because the algorithm censors words, so humans create new words, so the algorithm censors those words. And it's only because of the algorithm and human nature working together that we're getting as many slang terms as we are. New slang words are being spread faster on the algorithm because it picks up on trending phrases, and those phrases trend because they do compel humans to some extent. I do think the slang words that are spreading on platforms, the grammatical structures that are spreading, are somehow underlyingly more compelling to us. But the algorithm picks up on that and spreads that, and then creators make more videos with those things, so this spreads even more, and it snowballs. And I think it's too simplistic to say it's human nature that we're doing this, or it's the algorithm doing this. It is absolutely both, and I can't stop thinking about it either. Also, as a content creator.
So, do you use this? I mean, in non-obvious ways. You said you made a video about, I don't even know what skibbity is. I mean, maybe you can explain that for me and the other listeners who probably don't even want to know outside of the necessity for this conversation. But you say that you sort of do that directly, but there must be sort of indirect ways that you're doing this too? I mean, it's quite obvious when you literally make a video about a slang term that that's what you're doing, but are you thinking about this more subtly when you make your content?
So, for any viewers who might have heard my content, I speak a lot faster. I chop up my videos more because I know that'll perform well on shorts platforms. And even the voice I'm using now is assuming there is another audience, right? When I'm speaking with my friend, I'm going to speak differently. And that's also just a normal thing, that we change how we speak depending on the environment and how we want to be heard. I do think, again, that's working in tandem with the algorithm, right? So I'm changing how I speak because I think the algorithm wants to push a certain kind of speech. I'm changing my word choice for sure. I've for this book, I interviewed a lot of creators and asked them about their word choice, and uniformly, like, some of the most viral creators say that they are carefully considering their like use of word choice to make like phrases that sound a little interesting so people will comment on it, so then that generates more engagement, so the algorithm pushes it. Again, the algorithm will push things with more comments. That is an algorithmic thing, but the people commenting is still a human thing. So like, what it is, a emergent force of both those happening at once, and creators are aware of this, and creators will use words and they'll use phrases that you might want to comment on, which I think is really interesting.
So what do you think are the defining characteristics of like social media video influencer lexicon or ways of speaking? You said you speak faster. Like, is there a reason why you speak faster?
The name of the game is retention, and I'm sure as a YouTuber you're also very familiar that you want to keep your audience as long as possible, because that's another thing that makes the algorithm push your video more. And if I speak faster, that might make someone rewind and watch more of the video, which is good. It might make someone less bored. If I speak too slowly, you might just want to scroll away because there's another more entertaining video below mine, right? If I speak faster, you might even comment. I've gotten a lot of comments on, wow, you speak so quickly. Could you speak a little slower? Or like, and some people are like, I love the way he speaks. I think the speed at which he speaks tickles my brain. I've gotten comments across the spectrum, but the point is, I've gotten comments, and that means the algorithm registers that I'm getting comments and pushes my video even more. So there's multiple reasons why it's good for me to speak faster, and I do speak quickly in real life. I'm an energetic, excited person, but the specific intonation